Okay, guys, how are we? Welcome to day two, Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Hopefully, we've all had a wonderful day and we are on track so far with this 5-day challenge. And yeah, excited to deliver today's session. Got some really positive feedback from yesterday's one, which was great. And yeah, today we're going to be diving into all things nutrition, which, to be honest, is going to be incredibly valuable for a lot of you, right? Because I know for a lot of guys that come to me, they always say that the nutrition is a big area of struggle. Okay, so we're going to be going through bulletproof nutrition and lifestyle principles to make this easier for you. Once again, I'm going to keep this as short as possible, but as long as necessary. And if there are any questions as we go through this, please just pop them in the comment section below. And if you are watching live, give us a like, give us a love, so I know you are there. And finally, if you're watching the replay, just put hashtag replay below so that I know you've seen it. All right. So first of all, let's get accountable. There would have been a post that went into the Facebook group half an hour ago, okay, which ultimately looked like this. So how has today gone from a workout, steps, calories, protein, and water perspective? Are we on track? You know, it doesn't matter if we're not fully on track. You know, the most important thing is that we're getting accountable. Okay, we're assessing how we've done and we're trying to make improvements as we go through. So if you could let us know on the Facebook group, that would be fantastic. Obviously, today was a cardio session. So yeah, if you managed to do that, please let me know. Now, today's tasks. So once again, I would take some notes if you can, or, you know, or at least in your phone, on some key principles that we're going to take away today. But essentially, what we want to do is we want to get clear on key nutrition principles, get clear on what foods to base the majority of your diet around, and understand hurdles and ultimately how to make this nutrition part easier for you to adhere to. Right now, first of all, right, why is your lifestyle and your nutrition so important to your body and your life goals? Okay, and I want to highlight this quote: "Success is the product of daily habits, not once in a lifetime transformations." Okay, and if we think about that, what is the difference between someone who's in great shape and someone who is in bad shape? Okay, what is the difference? And it comes down to their habits and behaviors. Okay, and if you want better results with your body, then forget about necessarily just setting goals, but focus on your system and your habits and what you're doing on a daily basis with your nutrition, with your training, with your lifestyle. Okay, all of these things contribute to you either getting in great shape, all right, and feeling great, or ultimately contribute you to going an avenue that you don't want, where you're in poor shape, your health isn't where you want it to be, your fitness isn't where it wants to be. Okay, so all these small 1% actions, you know, insignificant in the moment, but ultimately over the course of months, over the course of years, add up and either take you closer to where you want to be or ultimately take you further away. And today, you know, we want to get clear on things that are going to take you closer to where you want to be from a body and health perspective with regards to your nutrition. Okay, now, what are the most important habits for you to adopt to achieve your body goals right now? Now, we went through this yesterday, and I want to reiterate: calories, protein, food quality, hydration, sleep, staying active, and consistent training. And today we're going to go through these three elements in a bit more detail as, you know, like I said earlier, these are the parts that most guys struggle with and can feel overwhelmed with. All right, so let's dive into it. Now, first of all, calorie key principles. Really important to understand that calories are king, and that is why we are tracking them. That's why I've advised you to start tracking your calories through MyFitnessPal, because we need to bring that awareness up around the foods that we're eating and the calories that are in those foods. Okay, and ultimately, if you want to get leaner, you need to be in a calorie deficit, right? If you wanted to gain weight, okay, for whatever reason, you would need to be in a surplus. And it's really important we understand that. Okay, and we bring that awareness up with the kind of foods that we're eating, the calories and the protein in those foods. Okay, and it's also important to understand that your calorie targets that we have set, okay, they can be looked at weekly as well to make this easier for you. Let's say hypothetically, right, you were going for a meal at the weekend on a Saturday. You could pull back your calories 4 days in advance, 250 calories a day. Okay, that's going to give you an extra 1,000 calories to consume on a day in the future. We don't necessarily need to just look at things on a daily basis. We need to look at things on a bigger time scale, and looking at it as a weekly total, right, is what is going to be key. If you think about it, if you've gained weight, it hasn't necessarily been because you've been off with your food every single day, but maybe there's been some days or more days than there hasn't with regards to the amount of calories that you've consumed. Maybe there's been too many days where it's been too high, and over time, over months, years, that's where it can really start to make a difference. All right. So we do need to look at calories, not just on a day-to-day, but also on a weekly basis. And with the protein, right, protein needs to be your priority. That's the one macronutrient you need to look at more carefully. Your carbs and your fats are interchangeable. If you're sticking to your calories and hitting your protein, you could go higher carbs and lower fats, or vice versa. It really doesn't matter. All right, but we need to focus on the protein, and there's going to be huge advantages to eating a high protein diet. It's going to keep you fuller for longer. It's going to help you build and retain more muscle, and it's going to be absolutely key. All right, so always think protein first with every single meal. If you can do that and you can get into the habit of eating more protein, just doing that habit alone will, make a huge difference. Okay, and then food quality. Key principles. Now, the 80-20 rule is a good rule to go for most people. Okay. And this is where 80% of your diet comes from whole, healthy, good, nutritious food sources. All right. And 20%, okay, we perhaps incorporate more of the naughty stuff. Now, of course, ideally, in an ideal world, we'd like to be 100%. Okay. Or we'd like to be 90-10 or 95-5. All right. But I understand it's very hard for us to just eat whole, healthy foods all of the time. So if you can base the majority of your diet around whole, healthy foods, 80%, and leave some leeway for the naughtier stuff, that is a good way to go. Okay. Also avoiding seed oils, highly processed foods, and high sugar foods. Okay. Or limiting those is going to be key. And a high protein and high fat breakfast for the win. All right. This is something that I have been following myself for some time, and something that I implement with my clients as well. And they've seen huge upsides to eating a higher protein and higher fat breakfast compared to smashing the carbs, right? Typically, most people opt towards a carb-based breakfast, whether that be porridge, whether that be cereal, whether that be toast. Carbs are high, protein tends to be low. I would reduce the carbs at breakfast, okay, and I can guarantee you're going to perform better, you're going to think clearer, you're going to be fuller for longer, and that is going to make a big, big difference to you hitting your protein goal as well. And then finally, we need to keep the food quality side of things really simple. Most people overcomplicate it, and we're going to make this easier for you today. Okay, now you've already got your calorie targets, you've already got your protein targets, all right? But you might be wondering, right, how do I actually hit these targets, right? What do I need to do? And obviously that revolves around your food quality. Okay, and if you're eating good quality food, this is going to have a big impact on the results that you get. Okay, the way to look at it is if there's two different people, right? Or sorry, two of the same person, they were identical, right? Everything was the same. The calories, the protein, the steps, the sleep, the hydration, the training. The only difference was one was eating whole, healthy, nutritious foods. The other was still sticking to the same calorie and protein target, but they were eating crap foods. Who's going to get better results? Of course, the person eating good quality food is going to get better results. Okay, they're going to perform better. They're going to have more energy. They're going to sleep better. Okay, they're going to be eating better protein sources, which is likely going to equal more muscle, and they're less likely to get sick and unwell. So over time, that is going to have a big impact. And that is why we also need to look at the food quality also from a health and longevity perspective. If you're eating good quality foods, that is essentially helping you further down the line, not just now, but from a health perspective, that's going to have a big impact on your health in the future as well. Okay, and we need to keep it really simple. And I'm actually going to share these below this training after I've finished going through this. But here are some protein sources. All right, I'm not going to go through all of them now, but have a look at them on the screen. All right, if you can start to incorporate more of these, okay, in your diet, that's going to really help you hit your protein targets. All right, and from a carb and fat perspective, okay, all of these foods, okay, are going to be really healthy for you. Okay, and they're going to make you feel good, going to make you have lots of energy as well. So I'm going to share all of these on a screenshot, but just have a look at these now. All right, and I want you to get really, really clear on these. I'm not going to go through all of these now because it would just be too time consuming. And I want to keep this short and sweet. And then finally, salad, fruits, and vegetables. You can't go wrong with these kind of foods, right? Foods that are essentially, animal-based here, okay? Good protein sources are grown in the grounds, right? And are essentially just one ingredient foods. All of this stuff is going to be absolutely fantastic for you. And I can guarantee if you incorporate more of this, you are going to feel so good for it. So I will share these below, so you have got access to these moving forwards. Now, other things we need to take into consideration with the nutrition. All right, once again, if you're watching live, please just give us a like, give us a love so I know you're there. That'll be really helpful, and do ask any questions as we're going through this. But there's other considerations we need to think about. Okay, now combating hunger is going to be really, really important for you achieving your goals. Okay, because that is probably going to be your biggest battle when you are in a calorie deficit, is dealing with hunger. Okay, and a lot of people confuse hunger with boredom, with dehydration, and sometimes just distract themselves and end up eating for the sake of it. Okay, but to combat hunger, it's really important that we are eating these whole healthy foods that we just spoke about. Okay, that is going to help do that. Okay, because high protein sources are satiating, meaning they're going to keep you fuller for longer. And also with foods like this, salads, fruit, and vegetables, okay, they are very satiating, and you can eat a high volume, a huge amount of these foods for very little calories. All right. And that is going to help you combat hunger. And if you can combat hunger, that is half the battle. All right. So that is why it's so important that we are eating those whole healthy foods, okay, and being mindful about the food choices that we make. Okay. And it's also really important that we choose the right foods in order for us to do that. Okay. We are choosing foods that are going to give us energy, keep us fuller for longer, okay, and make us feel good. And if you can do that and continuously pick the right foods over the wrong foods, it's going to make this whole process easier, right? Think about it. If you're just eating highly processed foods, which are high in calories, right? You know, if we look at the naughtier based foods, they are very high calories and there's not a lot of them, right? Whereas if you're eating really good foods, okay, you can tend to get a whole plate full of food for the same calories as perhaps, 2 Mars bars. All right. So that is why we need to make sure we're choosing the right foods. Okay. And also pinpointing the right time to eat for you. Now, there isn't necessarily a specific time that benefits you more from a fat loss perspective. Okay. But from an adherence perspective, okay, planning your meals around when you are most hungry will be super effective. And here's something that I have seen with the guys that I work with, right? Typically, because you're super busy during the day, right, you're not so much thinking about food, right? You're busy, you're working, you're doing stuff, picking the kids up, whatever it may be, training, all of these different things, right? It's keeping you busy. But when you get to the evening, you sit down, you relax, you start watching a bit of TV, maybe that's when you can start to think about food more. All right. So actually manipulating your day around that, and when you are most hungry, is going to be really powerful, and saving some calories for that evening, because that's when you're most likely to slip, is going to be really, really powerful. All right. So you've got to find the right times to eat for you. And some people, once again, they do intermittent fasting because it makes it easier for them. They can just get through the morning without eating, and then they have a shorter eating window, 7, 8 hours, whatever it may be. All right. And they can eat all of their food and the calories within that eating window. So these are all things that you need to start to understand about your body, when you're most hungry, and start to plan accordingly around that so you can stick to it the best way possible. Okay. And then next, we need to consider eating practices. Okay. And this is really important as well. For example, right, you need to, first of all, sitting down at a table to eat is really important. If you're sitting on the sofa, right, watching TV, you've got a big bag of crisps or ice cream, or biscuits, how easy is it to just eat automatically without even thinking? Okay, so actually sitting down at a table, being more mindful, getting away from your workstation instead of eating on the go while you're working, or eating while you're moving, can be really helpful, because it can help you make better decisions around the types of foods that you're eating and not go over your calories. You need to be more mindful, okay, about what you're doing when you're eating so that you don't overeat. It's so easy. Like I said, if you've got a bag of crisps and you're not really thinking about it, okay, it can make a big difference to the amount you have, and also who you're eating with. Sometimes some people have terrible eating habits and that can rub off on you, okay, and we don't obviously want to do that, okay? And listen, if we've ever gone off track, okay, there's something that I want you to think about next time, and it's this anagram called blast it. Okay, if you've gone off track, okay, or you feel yourself going on track, it's usually because one of these things: you're bored, you're lonely, you're anxious, you're stressed, You're tired, you're emotional, or you're drained. Okay, you're blasted. If you're one of these things, it makes it so much easier for you to start to go off track. All right. So next time you do feel yourself slipping with the diet, like come back to this moment and think, right, like why am I finding it hard? What is going on? Am I bored? Am I lonely? Am I anxious? Am I stressed? Am I tired? Am I emotional? Or am I drained? Okay, because if you're those things, then you can start to put steps into place to make sure you're less of those things, and then you can start to make better decisions around your nutrition. All right, so remember that anagram, blasted. Next time you start to slip with your diet, think blasted. Right? Am I any of these things? Okay. Hopefully that's helpful. Now, other things we need to go through, okay, we need to understand that your nutrition and your lifestyle are closely intertwined. Okay. They go hand in hand. And I want to explain why. All right. I won't be too much longer with this, by the way. I should be wrapping up within the next 5 minutes. Now, first of all, an active lifestyle makes a calorie deficit so much easier. And that is why we have set a step target, right? If you're moving around, okay, more on a daily and a weekly basis, it makes it so much easier to burn body fat, okay? There's one guy in my coaching program right now, Danny, he's 94 days in. He's lost 21 kilos in 94 days, okay, which is a huge amount. Okay, and he's actually eating quite a few calories. His lowest point that his calories have been to so far was 2,400 a day. Yes, he was a slightly bigger guy, but something that he has done really, really well is move a lot. He's hit on average about 15,000 steps a day. Okay, and because of that, it's made the fat loss so much easier. So if you can get your body moving more, if fat loss is the goal right now, okay, which for most of you on this, it will be to some degree, okay, for a short period at least. If you can move more, if you can get more active, it's going to make this process so much easier. The reality is your workouts are a short space of your week. What you're doing outside of those workouts matters. Okay. And once again, your sleep is very intertwined with your nutrition. If you're sleeping bad decisions are often made with the nutrition side of things. Okay, which is why we get really clear on getting enough sleep, making sure that is a priority. If you're sleeping well, your ability to burn fat, build muscle, and have more energy, and therefore build more muscle because you're able to exert more force into your workouts is going to be higher. Okay, next, stress makes fat loss so much harder. If you're stressed and you're not managing your stress and you're not putting practices into place to manage that, it can make it so much harder to lose body fat. Your cortisol levels are going to be higher, okay, which is going to mean you're going to end up holding on to more body fat. So you need to make sure you're putting things within your lifestyle to bring down that stress, okay, and make sure you're putting yourself in a position to win. Okay, stress is a big one for a lot of guys, and inside the program, you know, we have strategies to help ultimately deal and overcome the stress factor to make it easier to get fantastic results. All right. And next, you know, we need to understand that no one makes great decisions when they're low in energy. All right. Which is why, once again, you know, I mentioned the high protein, high fat breakfast. Okay. That helps give you that sustained energy. Okay. But you need to set up your routines and your lifestyle so that you have the most energy possible and you can reduce the stuff which drains you. If there's constantly stuff that is draining you in your life right now, you need to limit that. Okay, you need to start doing more of the stuff and being around more of the people that give you energy, that lift you up. Right, this has a big, big impact. All right, so maybe this is a good task that I've got my clients to do from time to time, is literally write a list of all the things that leave you feeling low on energy, and then all the things that leave you feeling full of energy. Start to limit the stuff that's draining you. Maybe it's people, maybe it's places, maybe it's stuff, whatever it may be. Start to limit those and start to do more of the stuff that gives you energy. And exercising, moving your body, fueling your body appropriately is going to give you more energy. All right. So you can start to see how all of these decisions with the lifestyle can start to make such a big impact on the results that you're getting and the decisions you're making with your nutrition. Okay. And then finally, you know, other situations, we need to be flexible with our approach. Okay. Fat loss isn't black and white. There's times where you have to be able to be malleable and ultimately tweak and adjust things based on the situation, okay, around socials, medication, sickness, injuries, okay, and other conditions as well. We need to be able to manipulate things to serve us, okay, and not be just very rigid with our approach, okay. We need to be flexible. And once again, inside the coaching program, this is something that we do very, very well. Okay? We plan ahead, right? What is coming up this week? you got any socials coming up that we need to navigate? Okay. Do we need to do anything in advance to make sure that we can relax and enjoy ourselves in that situation without undoing our hard work? Right. We need to be mindful around that. Okay, so that is today's session done. Hopefully, I think that's pretty much 20 minutes bang on. So based on today's session, how are you going to make your diet successful? What has been the key principles that you have taken away from today's session? Okay, and how are you going to make this stick moving forwards? And if there is any questions, please let me know in the comment section, okay, of this live, and I will answer them. And yeah, tomorrow's session is going to be really, really powerful. And I'm also going to be sharing a huge opportunity for you guys as well. So you won't want to miss that one because there's going to be lots of value. And like I said, a huge opportunity for you guys to take things to a whole new level beyond this 5-day challenge. Anyway, have a great evening. Hopefully we enjoyed that. And yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And I shall speak to you all very, very soon inside the Facebook group and on the live training tomorrow. Thanks a lot.